Okay, we are on to the final region, the Americas. Also, I don't remember if I mentioned this, 'cause it's been a little bit of time now, but I found out what was up with the graphic last time around, where I was really confused about like the screwed up deck list on the side of Mr. Scandalous, where they were playing, like I had their deck down as Epiphany and then they opened Mountain Scryer. It turns out it was just the wrong graphic. They were actually playing their Noxus version, which is Invoke, so that's where that confusion came from. I also thought a little bit more about the plays from the finals of EMEA, and I stand by everything I said. So I was like thinking a little bit more about it. I'm like, okay, you know, like that Scryer on 4 instead of Victor. Maybe they were looking for like Equinox or Comet to like deal with whatever comes out of the Cosmic Call from their opponent. But then I was like, well, they also have Token on 6, so they can just jam out and Scryer on 5 and get the Victor ramping on 4. But now we're into the Americas, where we've got Chinos versus Rusticles. We've got okay, yeah, more Smear Seraphine. Like I said, I thought this deck was really good. So while I hard missed on the, well, I didn't like hard miss on this. I mentioned it as much as I could of like it's the wild card deck, but it didn't really pop up till Tuesday. I still feel bad about it, you know. Maybe I have to reevaluate Tournament Tactician in the days it comes out, because we are just, this year has been so rough in terms of how consistently we have had the late stage week of deck come up and just throw everything out of whack. I'm not convinced this deck is like worthy of the numbers it put up. I feel like if this meta had gone on for another 2 weeks, you would have seen like 10 to 15 less of these in Top Cut. But that's all feeling and arbitrary, so holding that opinion doesn't really matter much, right? But I am happy that I was able to identify that like Samira Seraphine should still be putting up numbers. And even though there were only 5 in EMEA, both of them made the finals. So I think Chinos is actually just running the same lineup that Gamov did. So we already saw this lineup. I like this lineup a lot. Not too far. What I was talking about a lot going into the weekend was like I wanted Invoke, Samira Seraphine, and then I was torn between Fiora, Galio, or just a second Invoke deck. And I probably would have ended up landing on just a second Invoke deck. And then if I made Top Cut and I was like talking with players, or if I was just like more in the player sphere and like knew about this deck, maybe this is the lineup I would have landed on. But who knows? 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as Meatloaf says. So, with the only difference here being Invoke versus Jace Lux, obviously I'm a bigger fan of Invoke, but as far as the bans go, based on what we saw last time around, I wouldn't be too surprised if it's just, you know, an Elise Gnar ban for Rusticles, and then Chinos. I don't think you're ever banning this. I don't think anyone's ever really banning that. Is it here? Is it here? My money's here. My money's here if for no other reason than I just, like, I want to see this deck play, so I don't get to. Let's see how it actually plays out, though. Oh, Samir Seraphine and Invoke band. I really didn't think Chinos was going to go for the Samir Seraphine band, but takes that out. And this is kind of contrary to what we saw earlier, right? When it was a mirror match in the finals of EMEA, they both took out the Elise Gnar. So Chinos going up against a similar lineup and just choosing to take out the Seraphine mirror. Which, honestly, I don't blame him. There are some mirror matches, and the Seraphine mirrors especially, where it's like, one, the amount of mental energy that I'm going to have to expend in order to just play this mirror is pretty big. It's a large amount. On top of the fact that, like, I'll take this other stuff, these chump decks. But all right, we finally get to see Samira Seraphine up against a pretty bad opener on the side of Rusticles. I don't know if this is pre or post mulligan. We'll find out in a second here. Looks like it was post. Oh, but an Elise top deck might just save it all. I like this music. Okay, I want this board. I gotta talk to Riot and be like, hey, you guys know how, like, I'm a caster, so I can't, like, enter these events and I can never win this board. What if you just, slide it on over? I'm not gonna do that. But I do like this music. Alright, I assume Rusticles passes here and just banks mana into the ramp turn.
Come closer.
Or not.
I don't.
Assumption wrong. Who knew? Surely Chinos goes for the Samira. Okay. At least I got that one right. I think I started saying that as they were pulling out the Samira, though, so like it barely counts, but... You know what? Yeah, hit him. Hit him, Chino. Don't. I'm pretty sure they play Brittle Steel. Don't attack, though. Don't attack and flock. It's not worth it, Chinos. Gotta look up this, at least Nara list real quick. Yeah, there's Brittle Steels in there. Can never make that attack. Oh. Top deck's the Rhyme Fang. No, had the Rhyme Fang? Top deck's the Rhyme Fang. Had the Rhyme Fang. Had the Rhyme Fang? Had the Rhyme Fang. Got Mystic Shot plus the... Okay. I mean, gonna protect the Samira. There's no way for Rusticles to save this. Deck doesn't play Elixir. I don't hate that. Not sure how much value this Samira is sort of posed to get, but I think that you're in a bit of a weird spot if your opponent does, like, get to proactively Brittle Steel and just get that down. But we might just, like... This ramp spell might not be coming down to, like, turn 6 from Rusticles at this point. Because now, if they just want to keep the pressure on and go like, hey, you really need to answer things, then you can lay out the Yeti here, then go Glacial Cimmerian on 5. Have some really nice-looking open attacks. But I guess this is going to have to... Ooh. Okay. Okay. I was going to say, it's really awkward to go after the Elise there, because if Troll Chant comes out, then... Actually, no. I like, actually, going after the Elise there, because you have the Flock to counteract the Troll Chant. That's not awkward for Chinos, that's awkward for Rusticles. Yeah, Was the idea that you can just flock the Elise anyway? And so you want to get the Spider off just to keep the board as under control as possible? No, because the Elise isn't getting flocked here either. And forcing Rusticles to use that mana would have put them off of a lot of plays for the turn. Maybe the idea was to try and bait out the Elise spell? And then flock the Elise? Because we saw earlier in the day, who was it? Was it Gamov? Someone played an Elise spell that I didn't think made sense, and then they just like top deck Vile Feast and it worked out. So I don't know if people are just like aggressively slamming Elise spell all the time. Shield Vault's a nice pull. It's gonna level Samira this turn if they want to, which... Actually, no, even if they don't want to, because you're probably just running at the 3-2 here off the Golden Spatula, so that's gonna get you up to A. And then, I guess it actually is, do you want to tag out? But they could also Guile or flock the Elise. Yeah, this is, like, not a good attack from Rusticles. They could just get their board wiped here, more or less. Yeah, I don't mind that from Rusticles going, go ahead, I want to see you play the last card. Actually level your Samira. I don't love Flock Yeti because you are against a Troll Chant deck. It can be really awkward to try and finish something off once they've got mana back available. Even here, like, the Troll Chant is counteracted. Okay, now we're going after Elise. This is the, like, Chinos just needs to worry about clearing the board this turn. Next turn, the Warden comes down. Everything gets really screwy. So this is your chance to clear the board. Oh, that Elicit is so good for Rusticles. Seraphine finds something awkward. But High Note's available to take out a couple of units. And that is exactly what it's going to attempt to do. Troll Chant can just save it here. And chooses not to. Rusticle says, I don't have the Warden. I don't want to save this just yet. Ooh, Chinos has found the left leg of Exodia. And now, like, Rusticles just doesn't have the power to get back into this, especially not once the Plaza Guardian starts coming down. It doesn't really matter that it's going to get damaged from the Blood for Blood. And Chinos really only has to use, like, one throwaway spell here to level it. Like, Guile might come out onto either the Glacial Saurian or the Narge to level the Seraphine. And especially with a, I don't remember when I was doodling, but I just noticed that little pink smudge. Especially now with, like, Samira's about to rally. The Plaza Guardian train is coming. Chinos might even be able to rally twice with Tag Out. Because, like, now they Blood for Blood. This goes back to D. C on a Plaza Guardian, B on a Plaza Guardian. Swing out. Tag Out takes you back to S. Hold on, Blade's Edge. Oh no, sorry, this takes you to E, not D. So that'll only take you to A. Then Tag Out takes you back to E, past the S. Then Coin. Blade's Edge. Yeah, I think Chinos has 2 rallies here. And then, if that doesn't kill them, you just open attack on the next turn. All you have to do is not lose your Samira to Troll Chant, which you can avoid. You could even tag out the Samira if you need to. Because now you could go like Flare Tag Out. I think I miscalculated. I think Chinos actually has 3 rallies. I was seeing if they had 2. They might have 3. An open attack. Samira's fun and balanced. All my homies love Samira. Right? We love 2 mana 80 carries that take over games, don't we, everybody? Holy moly. Alright, we can, well, the writing's on the wall here, but people haven't exactly been doing what I thought they would do most of the day. So. Yeah, so now Tag Out rallies, then you replay Samira, double Coin, double Sump Work, double Blade's Edge. Are you 1 mana shy of all that? Oh no. How many coins do you have? Is it 4? Are you getting 4 mana? I think it's 4 mana off the coins, right? No. Is it just 2? It doesn't matter, but I hope Chinos plays the coins so I can find out. I'm never gonna know. I think the second Tag Out fizzles and you only get 1 coin. So it'd only be 2 mana. So you'd actually be just... actually, I think you'd still get 1 more rally off because of the flares, but... doesn't super matter. that was a good showing of the explosive power of just Samira and 37 other cards. It's so rare to see these days. Chinos is actually on the Outriders version of Gnarlies. I didn't even notice. Just on Atro and Vile Feast. So that's 5 non... There's 1 Vile Feast, 1 Atro, so 5 non-Allegiance cards. Highest amount of non-Allegiance cards we saw over the weekend was actually 13. There was, like, one person that was basically just running non-Allegiance Epiphany and then, like, threw in 2 Mountain Scryers and was like, screw it. Here's my 13 PNZ cards. I'm sure it'll be fine. Alright, this is, like, the 2 most unexpected decks from my perspective that, like, I just totally missed on in Tournament Tactician. Lux Jace also just, like, kind of came out of nowhere, but it's almost kind of falling into the category of, like, Eternal Staple. I gotta go back and check the numbers from the last round of opens, like, over the summer, but I think Jace Lux is something that people default on a little bit in Eternal, kind of like Scion and Thresh and Nasus and that kind of stuff. Which, like, their popularity will wane and vary over the course of Eternal formats, but I think those are, like, when you get back into the format, those are things that you can comfortably take into a good number of metas. Maybe not all of them, but, like, you know, off that list of, like, 4 or 5 Eternal staples, you'll be able to find, like, 1 or 2 that are solid. Maybe Jace Lux just belongs on that list as something I have to constantly revisit. Because, like, Scion was one that I was, like, peddling. Not peddling, but, like, hey, this is an Eternal staple. People are still playing it. People are still, like, winning tournaments with it. It's something to be aware of. And then, like, there was only 1 Scion in each region, but it also won APAC. So, like, you know, how do you temper these things where it's like, I brought it up, only 1 person brought it, but it did win the event. So, like, you know, it was worth mentioning, kind of. I'm sure I'll never get to the bottom of that, but we keep on innovating and trying new things and new ways to spread information, do tier lists, things like that. On to the game at hand, though. Chino says successfully resolve. No, did they whiff their Outriders? Because they just drew Elise. Oh, that's rough. I thought I saw the animation go for it, though. Maybe not. Ooh, found the Warden. Got a solid board. Gonna lose a lot of it here. No Troll Chant. We'll see if... I'm curious if Rusticles even respects the Troll Chant. Because, like, right here, Troll Chant would be so devastating, but it's... I don't think you can afford to respect it in a situation like this, because there's no other situation where you're actually going to be able to bait it out. You kind of just have to run headfirst into it here. And at the very least, you're still killing 1 unit. Troll Chant can only save 2. And then you still get to push 8 damage into the Nexus. And in situations like this, where your opponent doesn't have it, you get a huge payoff of wiping their entire board. That said, Chino still has a lot of redevelopment. They can, like, ramp spell plus Elise plus Poro, and then just drop the bomb next turn. Or they can, like, Elise Poro Yeti.
I don't bite.
Only awkward part is they can't attack with the Elise.
We can do this.
And that's awkward. What do I like here? Do I like Yeti ramp spell, Glacial Grandfather next turn? Is that what I'm feeling? Opponent has developed a Lux, so if they open next turn with a Shock Blast, then they take out Elise and the Mysticism. You're left with a Poro, Glacial Saurian, or sorry, not Glacial Saurian, but Grandfather is like, yeah, it'd be a little awkward. Warden. I don't know why I keep calling him Grandfather. He reminds me a little bit of Grandfather Ruble, but very much the Warden. You've played Poros, Spider, Reptile, Weapon Master. Does Mysticism have a tag? Feral Mystic does not have a tag according to Runeterra AR. I didn't think it did, but you never know these days. This is the problem with entombing the Lux, though, is like you don't really have strong follow-up. That Lux is still coming out next turn. You do give yourself more time to develop, though, and then you get first action going into the Warden turn, which I think is the most important part here, and why Chinos actually went for that. It's like a bit of a weird stall tactic, but by the time it pops back out, because like Chinos can run out either Mysticism Yeti or Glacial Sauron Yeti. I like Glacial Sauron Yeti more because you still wouldn't be on 10 mana gems next turn, so you'd only have the 2/2 plus the Warden buff, not a 6/6 plus the Warden buff. So might as well get the bigger Overwhelm unit down. It's kind of awkward. You have to block like this, though. Lose a good amount of your board. Probably should have led with the Yeti instead of the Poro. I'm also not sure how I feel about the Poro block here, in that you're taking yourself out of the range of double Mystic Shot, but you're leaving the board wider. I mean, this all could have been solved if Chinos just, like, led with Yeti instead of Poro. But now you Glacial Saurian, and then... Do you have Lethal? Oh, Chinos with the called shot says you're gonna have double Mystic. Let me block the 3/3 here. Still dead to Shock Blast Mystic, but not dead to Mystic. And I think Rusticles is just dead. This is 33 Overwhelm minus 12. Yeah, now minus 14. There's 19. This is 19 Overwhelm damage. This is 19 Overwhelm damage.
Never back down from what you believe.
Now's not a good time.
All Rusticles would have to do is play a 6 mana faster burst speed spell to level the Lux and live at 1, and it's just not there. Had to play the Jace to get the Shock Blast online. The sequencing from the side of Rusticles is just, like, tragic at every turn here.
Okay, let's think about this.
I don't know that they could have, like, necessarily sequenced any differently. Like, if they played Jace last turn instead of the Forge of Tomorrow, or the Assembly line, I think it's called, makes Forge workers. If they had played Jace to, like, have Shock Fast available, like, first action here, I don't know that Chinos would be at 5. I think they'd be a little bit higher. So, just kind of is what it is. But that's going to be Chinos moving on to the Grand Finals. The Warden deck looks good when you do this. Do you just, like, hard lose when you don't draw a Warden? So far, we've seen Warden 3 times. 2 times it was Warden on curve and a win. And obviously, like, the deck is built around having Warden on curve, right? Like, there's a good amount of draw in there. So let's skip to the finals, where we have What Am I making his deepest run of his career with triple Invoke. Did you go Epiphany on one of them? Nope, it's triple Invoke. I'm curious which one Chinos bans here. I think people widely regard Epiphany as the ban, but Samir is obviously very explosive. What was the... I don't think it was Atro Splash from What Am... Oh, no, it was. Okay, yeah. A lot of people have moved away from the Atro Splash, but not What Am I. What Am I sticking with it? Some people have gone, like, Just Quietus or, like, Vengeance. There's a couple different things that people have been doing. All right. Not too interested in like talking ban phase on this one, so let's just take me to the meat and potatoes, please. Meat and potatoes, please. Meat and oh. Okay. SI banned and then Warden banned. Warden ban makes sense to me for the light interaction of Invoke, just knowing that like your opponent can, you know, kind of really get on board. It's not like cleaning up the 1/1s is such a pain, and then they just turn into 5/5s. I get where that's an issue. It's just not an issue I ever had apparently in the like 2, 5, 3. I don't even remember. I think I played like somewhere between 3 and 5 games against Warden on ladder. Just never had too much of an issue, but I think people were still like figuring out the deck and you know how to play for the win conditions and But we're into the grand finals here. We have Invoke versus Plaza Guardian. This is a matchup that we saw a little bit earlier on. Invoke was able to just squeak it out in that time. I like the flare there. Just used a little bit of mana. Free up some hand space for that there. 7 mana spell. Whose name I've said 100 times and can't remember all of a sudden. I like the pass from What Am I? One thing I've been very critical of that Invoke players do is like they get a little too proactive and they'll feed into reactive decks strategies. Like I think it happened during the Mario Grand Finals where it was like Invoke versus Conservatory, and like the Conservatory player like had an Annie in play, and I don't remember if they had a Conservatory in play or not, but that's one of those things that like ticks down in deck, so it's still something you gotta be cognizant of. And the Invoke player just like slammed a Mountain Scryer, and then like, you know, it got hit with like a ping and a flock, and that like got the Annie to like 5 out of 6, and I was like, if you just pass here and jam Cosmic Call on 5, then like you really didn't need to play this proactively. What Am I obviously doesn't have the Cosmic Call in this situation, so he's going to be forced to Mountain Scryer, but I like taking the pass there, saying, hey, I'm willing to, you know, go even with you on spell mana before we actually get into this situation where, you know, you're slamming things down, and Chinos knows that they need to be a little proactive because if What Am I's just passing for, it's a hard tell of like a Cosmic Call on 5. So like good bluff from What Am I, just forcing the proactivity out of Chinos is like, I can't afford to just pass here, right? Like you Cosmic Call, then I fire out my Stuttering Song Spinner, and all of a sudden like I've got all these weird cards. Chinos is very aggressively getting down the Plaza Guardians here though. Not going to attack, don't blame him. What Am I? Still unable to find Cosmic Call, but has some decent options aside. Like, Aphelios isn't normally something that I'm looking for in a matchup like this, but even just the Calibrum, you know, take out the Valor, save the Cosmic Youngling, just kind of get on board a little bit, start cycling through some weapons, not a bad idea. Get into the Gravitum to contest these Plaza Guardians once they start to come down. Like, What Am I is a very seasoned player. I'm sure is aware that now 9 spells have been played. I think that was a level up on the Samira as well. Or the Seraphine, rather. So, you know, knows that these Plaza Guardians are going to be coming down next turn. Wants to get the Calibrum into the Gravitum. On top of the fact that now Chinos doesn't have the mana to actually go after the Aphelios. This also opens up some good aggression. Dump the Epiphany.
And here's where I'd paint my constellation.
Yeah, that Epiphany's not getting played anytime soon, I don't think. It was either that or dump one of the Targon Telstones. But as we saw in the EMEA finals, like, hushing the Seraphine on turns that you want to go for big plays, pretty standard line. But this is where Chinos gets to go for the pop-off. Actually got to check if Chinos is running Cat. Because that was something I was talking about in EMEA, where I really like... I'm a big fan of the one of Cat right now. Chinos isn't on it, though. Alright, Piaphelios. Ooh. No Seraphine. Could just grab another Plaza Guardian. Could try to grab Disintegrate as a backup for when What Am I does eventually throw down a big Celestial. I don't mind the aggression here and saying, I'm going to just throw down 3 Plaza Guardians, minimum here, and just go for a big attack, punch through a good amount of your board. What I'm curious about is how passively What Am I wants to play this. I definitely wouldn't be mad at What Am I letting through at least one Plaza Guardian hit onto the Nexus. One, because I think you want to preserve both of your Tricksters. 2, because Cosmic Youngling doesn't get value unless you're damaged. So, kind of let that go a little bit. What I'm mostly curious about is, like, does Chinos go for the Pirouette here? Do they go for the Blood for Blood here? It looks like the Pirouette is going to come out. I don't like the stun onto a Aphelios. I'd actually like to stun a Trickster, or potentially even the Cosmic Youngling, because if What Am I wants to, like, full block or just block as much as possible, I would rather them block with Aphelios than almost anything else. Like, I would love, as Chinos, to get that Aphelios off the board and give them the opportunity to block with it. Like, I don't think the Tricksters are more threatening. Oh, you're just going to flock it. That makes sense. I forgot there was a flock in there, if I'm being honest. I keep, like, leaning away from the microphone when I do this. I'm, like, leaning in towards my OBS and not the actual... I didn't see the flock there. Ooh. Strom talked back from What Am I, and that is an underrated card, I feel. I think Celestial Wonder is great. I think that's what buys you turn 6 on a lot of the matchups where, like, Supernova stabilizes. Timelines is a big one. Like, if I go Cosmic Call on 5, and then Cosmic, is it even Cosmic Inspiration? No, it's not. It's, Celestial Wonder. There we go. Why does it have Celestial in the name? I hate this so much, dude. Okay, it's Celestial Wonder. Like, you get a Cosmic Call on 5, and then Celestial Wonder on 6 when they go for, like, their big push on you, and then turn 7 rolls around, and now, like, you have a little bit more mana to play with, a little bit more time to, like, jam down whatever big Celestial you got off of the Cosmic Call. Now, though, this is looking like What Am I has not been able to find Cosmic Call. While we've seen Invoke come back from a position like this, it involved, like, double reduced cost Living Legends, and Chinos is about to pop off with this Seraphine Samira triple Plaza Guardian combo. What Am I do? It's like... it's like Celestial Wonder plus... probably has to be either Hush onto the Samira or Blessing. Hush is safer. This is actually, like, fine. And then... this actually even leaves What Am I enough mana if they want to throw down the Great Beyond. And that's always kind of a question where it's like, okay, do I want to... for example, if What Am I didn't go for the double stun here, let's say you just full blocked, right? Then you can throw down the Great Beyond, but then your opponent has 9, 10 mana with a Seraphine to try and deal with that Great Beyond, right? Whereas if you throw it down next turn, with the situation being what it is, I think that if your opponent could deal with the Great Beyond with 10 mana, they can do it with the 10 at fast speed on the next turn when you develop it, especially because you give them a slow speed action. So the fact that Chinos just goes for the 8 mana Cosmic Call doesn't really surprise me. And I've actually won games like this in this matchup as well, where you just, like, copy a Cosmic Call and then you resolve it, and then you fire off the Living Legends or whatever, and you get all these Celestials. I think I like copied their Cosmic Call, and then I also, like, double iterative improvemented a Traveler after I had resolved the 8 mana Cosmic Call, and I invoked on them. It was so funny. But now they get to Song Spinner into Living Legends. This feels pretty over. And it's got to be frustrating as the Invoke player that, like, you know, fucking Seraphine Cosmic called before I did. I don't even play the damn card. Ooh, Sumpwork Map and Rummage. You can Vial the Trickster. Double Sumpwork Map, what the hell? That is the thing about, what do you call it? Stuttering Song Spinner, where, like, it offers you new spells, but because when it's offering you the third spell, you still haven't played whatever was offered as the second spell. Like, sometimes it'll just give you the same spell twice, and, like, sometimes it's really broken. And double Sumpwork Map, kind of broken. Okay, this is over. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be a number of actions before it is actually over. That's actually so rough that, like, what am I's on turn 10 with a Great Beyond and it's +2 attack. That's a rough game. Just drew too many Epiphanies, too many Targon Tellstones. Didn't find the Sump Monument to, like, pair with the Epiphany. Like, just found Epiphany. Now it's getting hit with the Living Legends. Chinos has played, like, by the end of this turn, if it fully resolves and What Am I doesn't scoop, Chinos will have played, like, 4 times as many Celestials as What Am I has. Woof.
Come on, plenty of time for an encore.
That's good music. Alright. Take me into the next one. Got Amir. I believe they're both on Invoke Epiphany. That is correct. No one's on straight Epiphany. They're both on Mountain Scryer. Double Cosmic Call out of both players. Is this an interesting one? Okay. This is a situation I've run into a couple of times, and I still haven't really parsed out how I feel about it. Where you have the Cosmic Call, and you have Victor and Mountain Scryer to play on 4. Where it's like, I really like Victor if I don't have Cosmic Call, and I need to pressure my opponent. But in a situation like this, where it's like, I think Mountain Scryer is better when you have the Cosmic Call.
The mountain speaks to those who listen.
Missed it. Whiffed it. Shit. Oopsie. Yeah, I like Sketcher looking for the Equinox. Finds the Equinox. Moon Silver. Ah, that's awkward. Moon Silver pre-turn 5 is so good. If you can Cosmic Call on 4, it cracks so many matchups wide open. But the fact that they weren't able to find it until turn 4, and now we just get the back and forth Cosmic Calls. So I was talking earlier, like during the MR tournament when people were still kind of figuring out Invoke, you're kind of in this triangle of Cosmic Call mirrors where it's like, you can take Scourge. Like, it kind of depends on who's got token, right? So, like, because What Am I's going to have token on 6, What Am I's the one who's allowed to take Scourge. Like, if Chinos takes Scourge, they might lose it to What Am I's Scourge, while also sort of getting their board rolled over. Supernova is how you beat Scourge, or if you can find an Equinox beforehand. And then, what do you call it? What was the other one? Oh, like, Great Beyond beats Supernova. So it's, like, kind of a triangle, right? Where it's, like, Supernova beats Scourge, Scourge beats, Great Beyond beats Supernova. But Living Legends just kind of cracks the whole thing wide open. And, Living Legends is a little bit of a gamble, but, like, it's not that bad. Oh, Chinos is now free to... Well, not free to run out the Scourge. you know what MI has Gravitum, or you have a very good idea that what MI has Gravitum. So that is kind of where, like, Aphelios comes in as a little bit of a breaker of chains here. But the fact that what MI now has, like, Mountain Scryer established, Aphelios is online, has the Moon Silver to pair with the Living Legends, like... But MI's in a good spot. Third Cosmic Call. Something that I think people kind of do too much is they like find multiple Cosmic Calls and they're like, oh, I gotta get full value. And they'll try to just like you can probably jam 2 of them for 8, but you can also find a situation where you're really safe to jam that second one for 8. And if Chinos goes for second Cosmic Call here, I would not be surprised to see what Am I do the same. Just Moon Silver into a 7-mana Cosmic Call. But they might also try to leverage their board position a little bit better, maybe get the Aphelios going a little bit more. But I really like the idea of matching my opponent on double Cosmic Call, especially since What Am I already has the Living Legends in hand. But they might also try to go for lethal here. Like, if What Am I... What am I do? It's like cast a Cosmic Call for 2. Leaves you with 5 mana. Yeah, I'm not like... There's nothing I'm thinking of that like actually sets up a lethal here. Although like they do still have the Living Legends here. So, you know, can go for that. It's not that many cards though, especially because Aphelios is going to proc beforehand. So it could be Moon Silver Living Legends, cast Aphelios weapon, then get 5 cards off the Living Legends, which with only 7 mana, not super likely to find lethal. You would need Scourge plus something else. Actually did it on the Tellstones. Is not going for the Living Legends at all here.
Move sure as the moon, brother.
Given what Am I actually did that turn, I would have liked jam second Cosmic Call. I think it's either jam second Cosmic Call or it's jam Living Legends and try to like get a really good board situation going. I'm pretty sure Victor basically auto levels here. Oh, Chino still has Living Legends mana. Yeah, like, what if I can't fight this? It's a silence and then blast, so... Unless the plan was, Targon Tellstones, Blessing of Targon, which levels Victor, and then fire off a 3-mana Living Legends while Victor is still alive and the Sunburst is still on the stack. But what am I like loops back around to Gravitum to hit the Scourge again,
If you can only feel one thing.
but doesn't have Living Legends mana. It's a fly on my screen. Oh, I got it. Oh, I got it. Ugh. Wait, did I get it? I might not have gotten it. Oh, man. What am I is just like taken 2 turns where they had very powerful things to do and did not do anything very powerful. And it has just kind of instead been cycling through Aphelios weapons. And now I fear that Chinos with this Living Legends is just going to end the game. I'm surprised not to see the Living Legends go for a strong setup there from Chinos. They didn't have a lot of cards in hand either. They were going to get a lot of space. Maybe just...
to those who listen.
whiff on the Mountain Scryer again. I was gonna say, I kind of get it if Chinos wants to set up, like, Mountain Scryer level 2 Victor into Living Legends to try and get more value out of it. I think next turn I think previous turn they had a pretty big window.
Oh, man.
And Living Legends. Living Legends. Living Legends. Okay. Okay, okay, yeah. Great Beyond, Scourge, Equinox. Okay, I was gonna say, like, if What Am I wants to, like, big brain it, they could they could Tellstone into Hush and then Living Legends. That's a bad Living Legends. Especially compared to what Chinos hit. But that's kind of the, like, What Am I... It almost feels like needed to proactively dump either the Tellstones or the Epiphanies. Like, it's really clogged on hand space because of those. But again, like, if What Am I had taken the turn that Chinos resolved second Cosmic Call to also resolve second Cosmic Call, then I think they could have been playing a lot more proactively with their double Living Legends. Yeah, like, even though now they have level 2 Victor, like, their card quality was just so bad on those. Chinos is going to be able to drop Great Beyond and Scourge and the other 2 cards in their hand. And while they haven't played an insane amount of Celestials this game, it's still going to be like, you know, 13, 14 attack on the Great Beyond. A little bit more on the other. They're even balling hard. Wait, they're hushing the Victor. To take Supernova off the table. And level their own Victor. Gonna get a little keyword action here. It's regen. Yay, Victor. Got regen. Chinos can still run out. Scores Great Beyond, though. We'll see what Am I does with their mana. Going for the second Living Legends, or at least, like, entertaining the possibility. Doesn't have to do it. Just gonna do a little burst pass. A little old school tech. So, yeah, lead with Great Beyond. That's 14, so that means Scourge is gonna be 17. What Am I cannot double Hush. Or a little bit shy of that. And Chinos has a Challenger, and What Am I only has one Elusive. So... What Am I can play Trickster and still Hush Scourge, if need be. So, we'll have an Elusive blocker deals with the Challenger. Maybe holding? Oh, they're hushing Victor. Deals with the Scourge problem.
Trickster believes it chases the messenger.
Yeah, the only thing that hushing Victor there leaves on the table is Immortal Fire. Because the thing about Scourge and Great Beyond and Cosmic Call is because it rounds up on the cost halving, they both go to 5 after the first Cosmic Call, so they both go to 3 after the second Cosmic Call. So, like, with Chinos only being on 2 mana, what am I knows that if they hush the Victor, then Scourge and Great Beyond are both off the table, and Immortal Fire is not killing. That was, like, really heads up from What Am I, but they still need to, like, get another Cosmic Call resolved. There's still, like, the continuation of the Gravitum on the Scourge. This thing's been on field for so long. But Chinos is in no danger of dying this turn. They have the Sump as well as the Starlit Epiphany. If What Am I were to try and present lethal, What Am I not able to find the Sump Monument just yet? And is, you know, 1 mana shy of Cosmic Calling and... Actually, no, they can Cosmic Call and Living Legends. Because it'll bring the Cosmic, or the Living Legends down to 3, and then the Victor will reduce it to 2. Maybe even 1, because of the Moonsilver. It'll be playable. So this is the turn where What Am I gets to go. Cosmic Call, Living Legends, dump my hand. You know, see where we go from there. Might even be able to find lethal if they find, like, a Supernova, so that they can pop the Sump Monument as well as, you know, get this Victor or this Scourge or something off the table. Finds a Destroyer. Finds another Destroyer. Pretty mediocre Living Legends is consistently out of What Am I. Not able to find the big picture finishers. Like, has a Victor with Overwhelm. That's cool. This might even be a Telestone for Blessing angle, which, like, is dicey. Is dicey. When you have the entire Celestial pool available to you, a lot of opportunities to miss, as we have consistently seen off of What Am I's Living Legends. So, definitely not going to chastise them if they don't go for that, right? That one's a little out there. But there are, like, some higher-end Celestial cards that do kind of bust this wide open. Destroyer's not really one of them. I actually don't like that. I don't like cost-reducing something that you're going to play this turn. Especially because What Am I has so much mana available and is going to use so little of it. But, gonna pop the Spell Shield and then just jam double Destroyer. Goes to the Epiphany. Okay. The deck is now Behold the Infinites. Finds an Immortal Fire. Chino still has Star Shaping available, and if that Star Shaping finds Living Legends, then, like, might even just be able to fight back with, like, Supernovas and stuff like that. I think this is where Chinos has to go for it, and they don't. They continue to not. I think Star Shaping into Living Legends was Chinos' only opportunity to try and fight back there. Oh, right, they have Epiphany and Sump Monument. Never mind. They can take all the damage in the world. That explains that. That Sump Monument's been sitting so innocuously in the corner, I just completely forgot about it. But, say goodbye to all the shrooms, say hello to the Scourge. And I think Scourge number 1 is still Gravidumed. So obviously they both top deck Behold the Infinite, but yeah, I think this is too many threats for What Am I to deal with. One Hush, I do not think gets them out of this. The health on the Celestial is just so low. That'll do it, yeah. That's something monument sneaking into the corner right there. This is what I get for not playing Epiphany before. I forget that Epiphany invokes as well. I always think it just replaces your deck. Because it just says invoke. Like, it doesn't say, like, invoke from a certain place. It's just invoke. So, like, I forget it exists. But, yeah, it's Chino's taking it. And that'll do it. So, that has been all... That was chunky. That audio was chunky. Yeah, that'll do it. So that's how Chinos takes it over What Am I? That has been all 3 regions. I have been Boulevard. I'll probably have another video in the next couple of days, like going over my thoughts a little more in detail on just like the deck lists and stuff. But I did want to watch the matches. This was my first time seeing them, so now I have that information. I'll probably go watch some of the other matches off camera as well because I really like Legends of Runeterra and watching it and talking about it and stuff like that. But I didn't want to commit 9 hours to this. I only wanted to commit 6 hours to this, and it only took 3.5. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I've been Boulevard. This has been the top 4 of each region and us sunsetting the Heart of the Huntress Runeterra Open season and going into our final season before the World Championship.